We're going to get started on our next topic. Social plus mobile plus local are the key ingredients of marketing in the future by Raman.
Well, good afternoon. I looked at the program and there were only supposed to be 24 people here. So everybody that didn't register, please. I can't speak for so many people. So anyway, my name is Raman and I'm getting ahead of myself already. I was born and raised in Amsterdam. I actually lived there most of my life. I then moved to the US in 2005 after first I founded the first internet company that went public on the Dutch stock exchange, which of course lasted only a very little time if you do it in 2000. But it was fun while it lasted. After I moved to the US, I actually moved to Boston. I basically was done with the public company and I figured I will move down to Miami because the weather is a lot better here. And that's when I started BrandReact. I will not bore you too much with everything that I've done. You can go on my LinkedIn, link with me. I link with everybody because I give you the pleasure of sharing my 17,000 connections, which really helps if you want to network. Now, what are we going to talk about today? Basically, it's all about mobile. The world is getting more and more mobile as we speak, and you here are a living example. Everybody has a mobile phone in their hand, just like everybody is sort of glued to their mobile phone nowadays anyway. It actually creates a number of interesting opportunities. If you combine social, all the social media, everything that we do together, with the mobile devices and the internet that becomes ubiquitous, and you combine that with local businesses, local situations, people that do things close to their place of business, you create an enormous amount of opportunities. More than 50% of Americans already today has a smartphone, and predictions are that in 2 years' time it'll be like 90%, because every 2 years you can switch your phone, so that means everybody will go to a smartphone. If you see how much time we are spending on the phone, it's very interesting to note that we spend 23% of our time on the phone, but only 1% of the total advertising budgets of everybody combined here in America is actually spent on mobile. So you can guess that our nice ad-free mobile experience is about to change. Now, ads are not bad. Ads are actually good, because if you are a local business, which means you get your customers from a radius of a couple of miles around your place of business, you actually depend on ads to get your customers in the door. And you used to have a whole bunch of different ways to get these customers through the door, and nowadays it seems like they're almost all gone. I don't know when you had a phone book in your hand the last time. I actually recently, because I wanted to research if people are actually still advertising in them, and they are, but nobody's reading them. So what you need to do is to let your fingers do the walking, but now actually on the phone. And there are a number of ways in which local businesses can present themselves. I mean, we have social media. Now, for a lot of business owners, this is something that they wouldn't have dreamed about doing even just a couple of years ago. But nowadays, they realize that if they don't go on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, you name it, they're not going to get any customers. Mobile marketing is getting off, and we're going to spend later a lot more time on seeing what you can do with the phone in terms of mobile, of marketing. But fortunately, Google and actually Yahoo and Bing and a whole bunch of others have introduced what are called places pages. And those are basically local search places. That means that when you're on your phone and you type in bar, it will show you the bars that are close to you. It does that actually on your browser as well. And something very interesting happens. You get, I don't know if you've seen that, but if you type bar in Coconut Grove, you actually get a bar with bars on your screen. That actually show the bars that Google thinks are most relevant. Now, if you go to Google Maps, you can get that same list, but you see it there and you see them pictured on the map as well. So local search results are looking different. I mean, you are now in a situation where Google is trying to make things relevant for you and take into account your GPS location that they get from your phone, or you can also put it in your browser. There is a spot there where you can say where you are. And you can set that yourself. You can make that very broad, or you can make that very narrow. But you will get local results in your browser when you go on Google, which makes it very interesting, because now there is a whole different way of getting to the top. I mean, I typed local marketing, and to my surprise, BrandReact came out as, the #1. Well, that's always the nice thing to have. And that's exactly what we try to do for our customers, don't we? Well, there's a little bit you have to prepare when you want to get yourself on the map or get yourself at the top. Google has given everybody a free homepage. They get these from the business directories. In fact, they've distributed about 50 million of them. And they have completely integrated this in Google+. So they have created a business page for you that is part of the whole setup of Google+. Now, Bing and Yahoo do that too, and what owners of the business need to do is claim their page. They need to make sure that they tell Google, this is my business. That will give them the chance to actually make changes to the pages and to put videos and pictures and all kinds of information on there. Now, Google does verify this very strictly, because if you claim your neighbor's page or your competitor's page, you can do some pretty interesting things with it, and I don't think Google wants to take that chance. So they call you, or they actually send postcards to the address that they found in the business registry, and it gives you a PIN code that you then can type in and claim your page. Now, this is an interesting example, because Mr. Mose, who actually showed up in the bars in Coconut Grove at #2, hasn't claimed this page. You can tell here that Google doesn't know who manages that page. Now, the page is very bare. There's no pictures on there. There's no logo. The times that the business is open is not on there. But there is a review on there. Worst service ever. Do not go here. Now, this would be something Mr. Mo would like to know. And I'm sure Mr. Mo has no clue. Because Mr. Mo is one of the million small businesses that don't know what Google has done to them. Because this is really happening all over the place. And, it's about Google+. And frankly, nobody likes Google+. I mean, Google keeps trying with Buzz and with, I don't know what they've all tried, but they just can't get their fingers on it. They can't figure out how we would like to have our social media platform. So now Google has basically said, okay, you know what, I'm not an 800 but an 8,000-pound gorilla, and I will just force you. Because what I'm going to do is make sure that your search results are going to be influenced by how well you are on Google+. So, you better get on Google+. because Google Plus controls the business pages that we just talked about. You need them to claim your pages so that you can put good information on them. In the search ranking, they're going to show how many +1s you've got, so relatively how popular you are. Actually, there is a good thing that I should mention as well. There is a search mechanism in Google Plus itself, which is really good when you are looking at a specific type of business. I mean, if you're looking for business things. If you do AdWords, so you advertise on Google, you can actually get a +1 or an endorsement from people on your advertisement, which Google will say, you know, makes it better. And again, you know, you go up in the ranks. Authorship is an important one. They have now a mechanism by which when you have a blog post or anything that you do that has your name to it, and you've set it up right, and you have a Google Plus account and a nice picture of yourself, that nice picture actually appears in the search results. So they do a lot of things. They also buy a lot of companies. So if you want to do anything on YouTube or, you know, Picasa, Gmail, it's all Google. So the best advice is put the +1 on every page and see what happens, because we're all in the same boat. And, you know, if you post something on Facebook, you can automatically post it on Google Plus as well. So, I mean, if Google likes that, why not? You just put an auto poster on it, and it runs great. Now, this is all the new stuff. This is all the new ways of going, but all of the old stuff is actually still relevant. I mean, what we used to call search engine optimization, all still is valid. You still have to do all of that as well. And a lot of companies pester you with telling you that your website looks beautiful, but it could rank higher in the search engines if you hire them. Well, you could hire them, or you could just take this advice, because this is basically what you need to do with your website if you want to properly rank higher. Refresh the content, make sure that you use site updating services. I always say change your website to a WordPress blog, because WordPress got most of this stuff already done for you and has a very good relationship with Google for some reason. And it will get you in the search engines right away. Because people do wonder, do I still need a website? I got Tumblr now, or I got Facebook, or I got whatever. I say the website is the place that you control, where you are in charge of the message, where you can show the in-depth information that customers eventually want to see. So make sure it's there and maintain your website properly. Now, this is old school, so you know all that. We now have local SEO, as they call it, because now we take into account all the local stuff, which means claim your pages. Oh, and by the way, if you have multiple locations, you need to claim it multiple times. You need to make separate pages for each business that you own. What you need to do on your website and on the Google website and the Places pages is geotag everything. Because geotagging means that you attach the geographic location of your business to every photo. And right now, it's not entirely implemented, but you can bet that very soon it'll be that photos with a geotag get actually linked to your place of business, which is what you want to have in the first place. Keyword-rich business description, that's a bit of a simple one. There's a couple of categories that you can choose from. It's better to stick to those categories because you get found earlier. If you invent your own category, you're going to be in a category by yourself, and only if people know that category, they can find you. So it does not help. Citations, and I'm not talking about cops here, but I'm talking about mentions of your name, address, phone number on any place on the web. This is as good as a link. For local SEO, it means as much if your address, name, and phone number, and spelled in the way that Google found it in the business directory. If it's wrong, then change the business directory. But you know, don't start deviating from that, because you'll lose all the links. Google wants to give you the pleasure of having all these extra, what are almost backlinks, in all those directories. And there are many, many, many directories that you can list yourself in. Hundreds, thousands. And they're all valid links and make your business look more important, and therefore drive you to the top. Now, another big thing is mobile apps. Because apps are, you know, all over the place. We have, I don't know how many in the App Store already, and even more in the Android store. And Apple is being very strict about what goes in their store and what doesn't, which has at least the advantage that there is less garbage there. But customers actually prefer an app over just browsing on the website, even if you have made sure that your website is mobile friendly. And the reason that that is because they are, when they use an app, they know where they are, they know what to expect, and they can have basically a lot of interesting information about the company that they were interested in. So for a lot of businesses, they can now get their own app and get their own business name, you know, right on the phone there. Now, tailor-made apps used to be something that was very, very expensive. You're talking $20,000, $30,000 for an app. That's nothing. Well, that's no longer the case. I mean, we run a platform where we can provide you with an app for less than $1,000. And that's a tailor-made app for your own business that actually builds a fan base. We have a cloud-based platform, and because of everything is in the cloud, it means that you can change the information on the app while it is installed on the customer's phone without the customer having to update the phone, which means it is a great way to use for marketing. Now, this is not just for businesses. Schools who hand out a lot of paper to the kids that the parents are supposed to read. I mean, if they could change that to one app and they'd be done. But also artists and professionals are getting their own apps, because there's a lot of things that they can do, like selling their own tunes if they are you know, a music artist, or you know, they can create their own shop. They can give information on everything, let you order from the menu, do takeout, you name it. There's a lot of things that you can figure you can do on a platform like that. Making appointments with your dentist and picking your own time would be a lot nicer than having to call all the time. So these apps are getting very popular, and specifically the links with social networks and the apps are very big, because a lot of people do their social media on their phone. So by using GPS coupons, so a coupon that actually knows where you are. So if it says, if you come to this business 5 times, you get a free beer, they can actually check that you were in the business 5 times, because the GPS will say so. Loyalty programs, and of course push notifications. I mean, nowadays nobody reads email anymore. I mean, even text messaging is like being ignored. Yeah, that was the only way that I could communicate with my son, text messages, but he's ignoring that now too. So, well, I'm trying to get him to use my app so I can send him a push notification, and that he won't be able to come. But no kidding, those push notifications are great, of course. And if a customer installs your app on his phone, he doesn't mind getting a notification that if he comes to the bar now, he'll have a free beer. And, you know, I'll bet you they'll come running. So, all in all, to summarize, how do we get to the top in the search engines nowadays is a different game. First thing we have to do is mobilize our website, make sure that it is mobile friendly, that optimize our places pages, make sure that on our places pages we have the right information, keyword rich, geotagged and everything. And then of course the reviews. The world of marketing is going to be about reviews. Reviews, reviews, reviews. It's the only thing that is important. If you don't train your staff that when they come by and say, and did you like the meal? And they say yes, well, can you please write a review now? I mean, it's going to be the livelihood of your business to get good reviews and to train your staff to ask for reviews. The more good reviews you have, the higher you will rank. But there's something else, the Zagat ratings, which is a deadly thing as well. I mean, the Zagats were a couple in New York that started a business of reviewing restaurants in New York through their friends, and they built that into a business that Google finally bought, and they have a 30-point rating, and basically it's very simple to sit here and say bloom, 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 and you've rated a restaurant. And the higher the Zagat rating, the higher you're in the search result. So a lot of people ask me, how do I get reviews? Because a lot of people think that you can fake reviews. Well, I wouldn't start down the track of faking reviews because you get found out real quickly and then you're in bigger trouble than you were without any reviews. So the best way to get reviews is to get good service, because that actually is what we're all looking for. And then finally, doing all the, you get it? This is done. Groupon, I mean, all that stuff is going to be surpassed by everything that is mobile. I mean, we talked about the push notifications and the loyalty programs. Geofencing is that when you enter in a certain area, all of a sudden a message pops up on your phone saying, hey, you're close to Starbucks. We have a special for you if you come in now. That is going to happen a lot. Foursquare has an explore feature that you should really look at, because Foursquare is, again, one of these very important services. But Google and Facebook both launched just a few months, no, last month actually, in May, they launched offers sites. And these are the killer for the Groupons, because now you can use Facebook to create an offer and get people targeted that you want to come into your store. And Google actually now starts to do some of this geofencing stuff, so that you actually, when you look on a map, yeah, we'll have questions. This is my last slide. That when you look on the map, it actually pops up an offer that you put in Google Offers. So that's going to be tough to compete. One app you should definitely look at is Red Laser, because it's so cool to scan the barcode and then have a list of what that product is actually going to cost you online and offline in all the stores around you. This is the killer for retail. And finally, I would say optimize for mobile, because this is the way that people would be recommending you would go. People would not recommend the business. 57% of people would not recommend the business with a bad mobile site. 40% have turned to a competitor site after a bad mobile experience. And 23% of adults have cursed at their phone when the site doesn't work. Thank you. Questions? You have a question.
Yeah, push notifications on cell phones and smartphones are a voluntary requirement, I guess, if you want to call it that. Do you have any numbers as far as how many people really accept push notifications?
The thing is I don't accept push notifications from anything because I hate them. But if I know that when I get a push notification this time it will be something I like, I'll turn it on. No more questions? Well, you can see me outside of this room all afternoon. Bye-bye.
Do you want to ask him? I'm just only going to say what they have here.
What do they have?
The F,
The flaw.
the flaw. Okay.